Oh my word. Welcome back to the ONFORM podcast. I decided to go on a little bit earlier to catch the end of this game because it is definitely going a different way than we thought it was gonna go. Right? And the first half looked like we were gonna run away with this, and now it's looking a little bit different. So I'm watching it as you guys are watching. A little watch along here. But it looks like Tyler Morton has a corner here, and we're going to talk a little bit about the tactics and stuff like that from Arne Slot, who I think is missed on this on the touchline today. You can obviously tell, especially with these young players that are on the field today, and a little bit of a disjointed back line, to say the least. The back line is definitely um, a bit of a hosh posh. I mean, it's working, but I think against any other side, I don't think we probably could have taken this risk. So Tyler Morton at right back, Indo, Indo playing in the middle of the defense with Gerald Kwanzaa and Simikas coming in off of an injury on that left hand side. So that that back line is a little interesting, and it's very interesting the positioning of some of these players here. Nunez looked bright today. Nunez looked really bright today. Obviously, the game isn't over. I'm in the 92nd minute right now on my stream, and it's a little. It's the Liverpool is playing to the level of Southampton right now. They weren't in that first half. Obviously, more first team players are out there. Trent, Maka, Cody Gakpo, a lot of our first team players were out there. So it was a lot. It was a more of an era of control that we were seeing from this Liverpool team. It's kind of gotten out of control in the second half. And were we underestimating this Southampton side? Maybe a little bit. Were we expecting them to kind of roll over in the second half? I think so. Um, Especially with how bold the changes in the selections and stuff like that were. Oh, no foul. Oh my word. That looked a little reckless from Gerald Kwanzaa, if you guys are looking at this. That looked a little reckless, I'm not gonna lie. No foul though. I will say Harvey Elliott. No, the game has not ended yet. No, Dan. Not yet. We had 6 minutes of extra time. I'm in the 93rd minute right now. And it looked like Gerald Kwanzaa committed a foul on the edge of the box, last man. But referee says no. Diego Jota's in. Oh, and it's blocked. Chiesa has looked really, really good today. I will say that. I will say that Chiesa has looked really good. As for someone who's not played very much football in probably close to almost a year now, Chiesa actually has looked really good today. Uh, I don't know about that one. I'm looking at this Gerald Kwanzaa challenge. That looks like a foul to me. That looks like a foul to me. That looks like a foul to me. But the ref was he looked pretty incessant that it wasn't. And I'm thankful that it wasn't, because that probably would have been a red card. I hope we see this out. My blood pressure is high, man. Yeah, it's been a crazy second half. Yeah, this second half has just been. I thought we were going to run away with it. I'm going to be honest. I thought this was going to be like a 3-0, 4-0 type of win, because Southampton didn't look like they had much fight in them today. And then they came out in that second half just completely different. And let's see. I don't AP. I'm not sure. The game is still going on for me right now. I'm in the 94th minute, and it hasn't ended. You let me know if it's ended already as a win. But for me, I might be a couple minutes behind your guys' stream. So boom. Harvey Elliott shoots with his right foot in his skies. We got 1 minute left. 1 minute left of the added time. You guys might be a little bit ahead of me and the game may be over, but the suspense is still killing me. Excuse me. Oh, and by the way, I will be adding the episodes to Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, all of that stuff this week. I know I'm like behind 2 episodes there. You can catch them here on YouTube. Of course, if you haven't caught those just yet from the last 2 weeks, but I will be adding them to all of the streaming platforms after this episode, including this one. No, the game's still going. I wanted to know people's predictions. We can't predict it just yet because Southampton are still in it, brother. And they're still attacking this young and a little disjointed Liverpool side, right? But we just have a break. We have a break right now. It's Diogo Jota. That's shoulder to shoulder. Nunez is there in open space. You can see Harvey really wanted that ball. It looks like Nunez is happy to just play this one out. Actually, he shoots, and it's wide. It has been a while. How's everybody been? What up, Sugarman Jay? My prediction was 2-1, funnily enough, and then you got that. That's exactly what ended up happening. I think it probably would have been a little bit of more of an onslaught without having a pun going on here if we would have kept some of our first team players on. But let me know what you guys think about that result. How was that result? So I just got full time. How was result? Okay, let me remove that. I'm surprised we did not see Rio today. No Rio today. Maybe because it was a lot closer than we thought it was going to be. While we didn't see Rio in the mixed. But I would have loved to at least see him get a cameo. Yeah, full time, up the Reds, baby. Full time. When is the draw? Does anyone know when the draw is for the next round? Or when, they're gonna announce who plays who next? Let's see. Let's see what the possibilities are. Let's see. So Newcastle beat Brentford today. Arsenal squeak past Crystal Palace. And then Tottenham play Man United tomorrow. Those are all tough games, I'll be honest. I don't think any of these are going to be a easy match. 100%. 100%. More players need the match fitness. Yep. I think these guys are young. Obviously, I can't be super duper critical of this group of guys. They're obviously very young. They're obviously very inexperienced. A lot of them are, right? I mean, they won the competition for us last year. A lot of them did. McConnell was in there. Morton was in there. And Yoni was in there. But I think it's just a little bit of different, a little bit of a different type of intensity. And it'll be after the United game. Yes, exactly. So the draw will be after the United game tomorrow. My prediction, I have a strong feeling we're going to get a Liverpool United semifinal. And it'll be Newcastle Arsenal in the semifinal. I have a strong feeling we're going to get a Liverpool United semifinal. And it will be the battle of what is at Liverpool versus what was supposed to be or what could have been at Liverpool. Amorim versus Arne Slot. Should be a good one. And then Reese said, very impressed with Endo and Morton today. Endo, my man of the match. 100%. Endo was great. Today. He actually showed more technical ability than what I thought he was going to show today than he's probably ever showed in a Liverpool shirt. I mean, almost played that Ryan Gravenberch position that Ryan played when we were down 10 men, of being a center back that wanders into midfield and almost plays as a deep lying, you know, start the attacking movement cog kind of thing, right? And there was a lot of fluid movement throughout the entire squad today, and you could tell that that was something that Arne wanted to do, because there was a lot of people playing in positions that they typically don't play. I saw, Trey and Yoni popping up on the left wing, popping up on the right wing. He was in the middle a little bit sometimes, and then Morton was playing as a defensive midfielder, and then we saw him, play as a right back for the majority of that second half. So there was a lot of interchanging of places and things like that, and people were not staying in those positions when we were in possession, and then versus when we were out of possession. It was very, very fluid. And maybe in that second half, almost a little bit too fluid, right? Like, I think I think Arne may have complicated it a little bit too much, especially given that he was not on the sideline to kind of convey what he wanted and needed the players to do. So bringing in Simicast, when I don't know if this is a correct decision. I mean, I can't be too critical. These are going to be really my only real critiques for the match. Bringing in Simicast when he is, coming in off of an injury, to play in a mixed matched back line with Endo, who played well today and is my man of the match as well, Reese. But doesn't typically play as a center back, or hasn't played as a center back for Liverpool. I know he used to do that at his previous club pretty often, and he does that sometimes for the Japanese international team. And then Kwanzaa, who hasn't been in the best way recently, and he had a good game too, by the way. And then putting Morton in at right back. It was a little bit risky, and you could see some of those risks kind of coming apart at the seams. And towards the end of that second half, there wasn't enough midfield fluidity, with McConnell being in there, with Harvey Elliott doing a ton of tracking back. And obviously Inyoni in there, a lot of inexperience. So it was interesting to see. It was good to see some of these boys get runouts. I really liked what I saw from Federico Chiesa, that's for sure. I believe he had like 3 opportunities to get on the scoreboard, but they just had some good defending. One was a sitter that he kind of just scuffed the shot. The other 2 was just good defending, and you can't knock him for that. But happy to see Darwin Núñez get a goal too, definitely. And then I hope we don't get United. I hate going to Old Toilet more than once a year. Unfortunately, I have a strong feeling that's who we're getting in the next round. Yeah, and I honestly would take them. Who would you guys want in the second round? In the next round, I guess I should say. Who do you guys want in the next round? Me personally, if I had to pick out of all of the teams that are available, I wouldn't want to have to go back to Tottenham after we're going to them this weekend. Um, if I could pick out of all of them, I'd probably pick United. I'd probably pick United. Newcastle, we know, is a tough game, right? Newcastle, we know, is a tough game. We just got out of a hell of a game with Newcastle, right? I don't know if we want another one of those, right? Because after that one, it's just been, I wouldn't call it a skid, but those types of games are like really emotionally draining and physically draining. Do we want another one of those in the semifinal? I don't know, right? Um, and Arsenal, I want to play Arsenal as least as we possibly can this year, mainly because I don't want them maybe being able to fluke a little win off of us, or something, like, I don't know, maybe get a win off of us in the Carabao Cup, and then they start thinking, okay, that's the psychological edge, and maybe it does become the psychological edge for our players, and we start thinking that Arsenal are a threat and they're actually serious in the title race, let alone, not the Carabao Cup. So I would rather not play them and only have to play them twice this year. And that's once in the league, and then once away, and then once at home, instead of having to play them again in the EFL Cup and then again in the league when their second match with us comes up. I don't want to see that. I would take Manchester United, because I think they technically look the weakest out of all the teams that are left. My personal opinion. And that's right, Sugar Man J. Arsenal will be rough and tough. Newcastle will be rough and tough. Arsenal may be, but we might get a Man U that's still iffy. It's true. They're all tough goes. They're all tough goes. The reason why I am the most worried about Spurs out of all of these, Newcastle and Spurs are the two teams that I'm worried about the most out of this draw. Spurs could potentially just do a Spurs, right? Spurs could just do a Spurs against us and just like fluke like a 4-2 or a 4-3 win over us, because they just like to do that. They just randomly just get random scalps, and you're just like, where the hell did that come from? They were just on a three game losing streak. They're famous for that, right? And then Newcastle, we know, is never an easy game. Arsenal, we're in the middle of a title race with them. We don't need to give them any more mental ammunition, physical ammunition on us by giving them another opportunity to kind of chip away at our confidence in a cup game that it matters. This cup game matters, but I'm sure all of you would agree that the Premier League right now is more important than the Carabao Cup, and the Champions League is more important than the Carabao Cup right now. But Arsenal fans will take, if they somehow beat us, okay? This isn't a scenario. They somehow beat us. They will take that win to the bank, and they will be incessant about it all the way up until we play them, and that will wear on the players. I'd rather take on Man United, who are in a transitionary phase. There's no expectations from this Manchester United team. We've beat them already this year. I think we can go and get another win against them. And if they beat us, so be it. It's fine. It's whatever, right? So Trap Joe said, Man U would probably be more exciting game and the potential win for us. I think it's the easiest game out of all the guys, all the teams that we have left. My personal opinion. And then Reese says, I have no preference, but ideally not a game or a venue that would repeat on our remaining EPL schedule. Exactly. That's exactly what I think too, Reese. Like, I wouldn't want that semifinal, because I believe it's 2 legs, right, in the Carabao Cup. I wouldn't want to go do Arsenal, and then maybe a week later or 2 weeks later we go back to Arsenal. It's like, that's the last thing that you want to do, right? And then Spurs will likely field a full strength team tomorrow night, giving us the advantage on Sunday. I hope they do. And if I were them, I would too, because I think the Carabao Cup is a pathway where they can win a trophy. Mainly because if you back any team in like a one-off game, I think Spurs is like one of those teams that you can back in a one-off game. Spurs is definitely one of those teams that's just like, they could totally like fluke a result against Newcastle, against Arsenal, and even against us, right? They're one of those teams that's like, they either get absolutely killed or they do the killing. So it's an interesting, proposition, and I'll be looking at that one tomorrow for sure. And then Reese said again, exactly my feeling. I take any of these opponents away and not care about the result. 100%. Like, we will give them the Carabao Cup. I will give as a Liverpool supporter, you can have the Carabao Cup. I want this Premier League. I want this Premier League. I would say more than the Champions League. I would say more than the Champions League. If you guys had to pick one, would you pick the Prem or the Champions League? If we went all the way and won, which one would you pick? I said the Perm, but the Prem, baby. Which one are you guys picking? The Prem or the Champions League? If you had to pick one, me personally, supporting this team for as long as I have, and we went 23, 24 years without winning or maybe even more than that, 25, 26 years without winning a Premier League title. I want one more, bro. I want multiple more. I'm not even saying like, nah. I need more than just one. And I feel like Jurgen Klopp deserved more. And I feel like this is like reparations for us, bro. The Champions League comes first for Joe. That's a good. And why? Why? Why does the Champions League come first for you? That's interesting. And then always the UCL. Madrid aren't beatable often. That's true. Would you say that there's a higher likelihood that we win another Premier League in maybe a season or two than win another Champions League in a season or two? Maybe. That might be a good point. That might be a really good point. That the likelihood we win another Champions League in, let's say, next year or the year after that, it's completely different. I don't want to say it's always one team that's going to win it every year, because that's just not true. I think Madrid just have been very good and also very fortunate over the past 4 or 5 years. But for me personally, I want another Premier League, bro, because I don't know who's going to be good next year and who's not going to be good next year in terms of the Premier League. Arsenal could have a resurgence. Who else? Chelsea could put it all together. I mean, they already look really good. I think we're in a rare position and a rare opportunity to win another Premier League and I feel like this one will feel a little bit more special, mainly because this is Arne Slot's first ever season as Liverpool manager, coming off the back of one of the greatest Liverpool managers ever in Jurgen Klopp, who couldn't win more than one, and it took him a while to even win one. I feel like this one would be crazy, bro. This one would be crazy. And Joel Palmer, we need both. Big club mentality. I love that. I love that. I love that. 100%. I agree. And then Joe said the UCL is simply more prestigious and it makes the mark in the world of football. I guess that's true. Do you feel like all of Real Madrid's recent wins and winning it back to back, do you feel like that's kind of cheapened the Champions League a little bit? I don't know. Just like the same way that, like, I feel like Man City's wins have kind of cheapened the Premier League a little bit for me. And it's just like when they win it, it's just like, whatever. And when Madrid win it, it's like, whatever. Okay, yeah, we knew it was gonna win it. You know what I mean? And maybe cheapen isn't the word that I'm looking for, but like you get the vibe. Like when City, did the treble and then went back to back, people were just like, that was great. You know what I mean? But maybe it's the fact that the team that's winning it versus the actual competition. Maybe I'm not taking that into factor. So we will see. We will see for sure. And what happens next, and if we can pull this thing out. I mean, so far so good. We still have only lost one game in the entire season, which I think is insanely impressive. Um, we're still top of the Premier League. We're still top of the Champions League, which is really great. And then Reese says UCL is the mark of excellence on the club side of this sport. And now that it's a bye to what is essentially the finals for the World Championship, that's how I see it. I guess that's true. That's a good point. And I think maybe, yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. But like Joel said, our club should be competing for both annually. 100%. 100%. I think so too. And I love the fact that Arne Slot agrees with both of you guys. I love the fact that Arne Slot agrees with both of you guys. They asked him the same thing, and he's like, I'm trying to get both. I want both this year. We're doing the double this year, which I love. And if there is any year in which we could do that, it's this year. It's this year. This is the year that we could do both of those. City faltering, Arsenal faltering, up against a really young Chelsea side that are still putting it together. Madrid look rough. Who else? City look rough in the Champions League. All of the favorites in the Champions League don't look great. Bayern Munich don't look great. If there's any season that we go and do the double, it's this season. It's this one. So, and the Mo Salah's favorite trophy is the UCL. Interesting. Definitely UCL. Liverpool was the first team to get the Continental treble. Maybe we do it again. Maybe we do it again this year. You never know. And then we have a favorable draw in the FA Cup as well. I think if we get past the next team in the Carabao Cup, I think we can start getting hopeful. I think we can start getting hopeful, man. And then football carnage. Football carnage. Hey bro, I really enjoy your content. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. That means a whole ton to me. And then we need to do some content. 100%, brother. Hit me up. Hit me up. I'll definitely collab. But I love your name, bruh. I do. So as we do in every podcast episode, I know this one's a little bit special because it's right after a game, so it's almost like a little bit of like a live match reaction and all that stuff. But on form, the podcast, we talk about the teams that are on form this week. We do a top three, and then we talk about the teams that are out of form this week, and we do a bottom three, how that affects Liverpool, what that looks like in the future, stuff that we're hearing off of the press, and then, of course, the next handful of games forward and predictions on that. So let's jump right into it. And then before we do that, Trap Joe, if Slot can secure either of the first season, he will be the new legend. It's going to be very impressive. I don't think we've ever had a Liverpool manager do that before, have we? At least in the Premier League era. And then no team wants to come to Wembley, aka South Anfield. I love that. And then Reese said this might go over the heads of non-baseball fans, but just because Real Madrid are the Yankees, nobody will ever catch them. Everyone still wants the damn World Series win. Doesn't cheapen it. Very good point. I think it's a little bit different though, Reese, right? Mainly because the World Series would be the equivalent of a Premier League title, right? In terms of baseball, unless you look at the divisional trophies as a Premier League title, which I don't, right? I would say, how could we even compare this in another sport? Because I don't think another sport has something similar to a Champions League like that, right? Man, I mean, the only way that you can really compare it is like if we were to do like USA basketball, right? Winning an NBA title versus winning a gold medal at the Olympics. There's some NBA players who would much rather win a title and get that ring versus get a gold medal at the Olympics. There's some players that are like, no, the Olympics before everything, because that proves that you are the best in the world versus an NBA title proves you're the best in America. But some people argue that because the NBA is the best league in the world, when you win an NBA title, you're automatically the best team in the world because all of the best players come play in the NBA. Could we make that same argument for the Premier League? I think once upon a time we could have. I think once upon a time that if you won the Premier League, you were like, it was like a lock, you were the best team in the world. Can we say that now? I'm not sure. I don't think so. I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can do that. There's still great teams all around the world that play in different leagues and stuff like that. We'll see. People already said that about the UCL though. Right. But I feel you're not a perfect comparison. It isn't. It isn't. And I don't think there is a comparison to the Champions League. And I wish there was like in other sports because I feel like the Champions League is such a great format that it should be like that. There should be like some like, all right, you're the champion of the NBA. You're the champion of FIBA. You're the champion of this other, league in a basketball association in Australia or something like that. Everybody's battling it out now to see who's the number one league in the world. Which team is let's take your best team from your league and put them up against our best team in our leagues and let's battle it out to see who's the best. You know what I mean? That would be so cool, which is the Champions League. And I think sometimes we take that for granted. And I think sometimes the Champions League can, sometimes the money and stuff that goes into it, money always ruins everything. But I wish there was more stuff like that we could definitely compare it to. But I guess the Champions League is so unique and like one of the only things of its kind. I mean, even if you look at like the CONCACAF Champions League, like over in America, because we have one, right? it's not the same. It doesn't give you the same. It's not the same vibe. You know what I mean? It's not the same heritage. You don't get the same rush when you're watching the CONCACAF Champions League. Inter Miami play Chivas Guadalajara in the final. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, it doesn't give you the same vibe as like a Madrid Barca final, a Man United Chelsea final, a Liverpool Chelsea final, a Liverpool Madrid final. You know what I mean? It's not the same. It doesn't give the same push. You know what I mean? Like some of these legendary moments and things like that, or a Milan Liverpool matchup. Some of these legendary matchups that we got from the Champions League, we don't get those in the CONCACAF Champions League, which is kind of funny that we even have one. But all I'm really saying is, to me, chasing another club you'll never catch doesn't cheapen the trophy to me. Doesn't matter if Real Madrid have won the last 10. I still want it. I feel it. I totally hear that. I totally hear that. And then Sugarman J said, EPL have lost the aura of the competition side, competitive side within the league because of how many Man City and Pep have dampened a win. I know. Why is that? Why is it? Why do you guys think, I guess before we get into some of the details, why do you guys think that's the case for the Premier League, but it's not the case for the Champions League? Why do you guys feel like Man City and Pep have dampened the Premier League, but Madrid and the Galacticos and the big spending and the dominance hasn't dampened the Champions League for people? Is it just like, is it different history, different heritage? What is it? Is it marketed different? Is the vibe different? I'm not sure, right? But ideally, I would like to take both too. I'm with you, Reese. I'm on your team on that one. I want both, and we're in a position to get both this year. So why not? Why not? Why not get both? Why not go after both of them? You know what I mean? So let's look at some of these matches from this previous week, and let's talk about who's on form and who's out of form for this week. And I probably am going to sound like a broken record, as I always do every single week, but Liverpool is back in the mix. I know it was a 2-2 draw. I know we had a man sent off. It's a game we probably should have won, but the way that we went about that game was huge. The tactics that Arne Slot implemented in that game to get 60% possession and at times 80% possession was insane. That has to be applauded. They're not my number one this week. I'll put them at the number 3 slot because I can't, it wasn't a win, right? It wasn't a win. I'll put them at the number 3 slot. Surprise addition to this, to the on form category this week is going to be Manchester United. It's going to be Manchester United, guys. Mainly because Man U took down Man City, bro, in the most unlikely fashions. Took them down. Amad Diallo is a bad boy, and if he can put it together under Ruben Amorim, I think he can be a star for Manchester United for sure. Obviously, big news coming out about him dropping Garnacho and Rashford, and we'll see where that goes. I heard some fans saying, "Oh, let's go for Rashford. Rashford's going to be available this January." I'm going to say no to that. As attractive as that looks, you know what I mean? British player, has some stellar seasons. I'm still not 100% convinced that Rashford is a player that Liverpool should be going after or looking after. I mean, we can't keep going after like discounted stuff and stuff like that. So I'm good. I'm good on that. And then the last team to go into the on form category for this week has to be Chelsea. Going a man down, still pulling out that 2-0 win or 2-1 win. Obviously, Cucurella got sent off very late. But they looked decent. They looked decent today. They looked decent on Sunday more so. And those are the type of wins that you want. Those are the type of wins that you plug it along and you keep getting. And of the most unlikely teams, well, I guess nobody really just thought anything was going to come of this Chelsea team, mainly because of how much money that they spent and they continue to spend, and how the place that, they came in, I believe like 8th last year or something like that, or 6th last year. In the Conference League, people weren't expecting much. New manager again, widely unproven in the Premier League. Here they are, they pop up, and they're very close to us. Obviously, we have a game in hand, but you got to give it to them. They're a team that we need to look out for. They're dangerous. They remind me of us in those early club days where we were just gunning people down and we didn't care how many goals you scored against us. They're a dangerous team. So, Bala Kalele, mate, we are top of both leagues, but the problem is more than 70% of our goals are contributed by Salah, which is not good depending on one player that much. And Nunez as a striker is just awful. I agree with you partly on that. I think the other team players do need to step up. And if you saw that video that Liverpool have a Mo Salah problem, you know that I agree with you for the most part on that Salah take. Salah does need a partner. Salah does need help. He does need someone like a Sadio Mane. He does need someone like a Roberto Firmino, like a Felipe Coutinho. These guys that have been able to back him up and be partners with him and score just as much. I mean, Mane was an animal. People forget how good Mane was. There were people that were saying, is Mane better than Salah? Do you remember that? When Mane came, I believe he came in second in Ballon d'Or votes. He was a beast. And Salah needs another beast beside him. And I'm really hoping that, I don't know if it's Cody Gakpo. I don't know if it's Luis Diaz or even Darwin Núñez. Darwin took a good goal today. Kept his composure. The slip helped. The deflection helped. But, in a lot of those situations, sometimes he misses those. He bagged it today. That'll be good for his confidence. Definitely good for his confidence. And I'll do a full breakdown on that after we jump off a live today. And I'm going to post that video right away. But it's good for his confidence just getting a goal like that. I know it's Carabao Cup. I know it's against Southampton. But that's never a bad thing. And I don't know if you guys saw that, but Chiesa looked good. He looked good and had some good chances. And I'm really, really excited to see him get some legs underneath him, some match fitness underneath him, and him getting a run in this Liverpool squad. I think there's something there. I remember when there was like a loose ball came down, the touch, the control, and the nutmeg. It's audacious. And you get and the class is there, bro. The class is there. So hopefully Chiesa can be a Mane for him, a Mane for Salah. Maybe we put Chiesa back on the left-hand side, his favorite left-hand position, and maybe do less of a backup. But he has to prove himself, obviously, and continue to just be available, right? They say availability trumps ability every single time. Chiesa needs to work on staying fit so that we can give him an opportunity to show what he's all about. Because I think he probably should have had maybe one or two today, my opinion. So, perfect. Let's talk about the guys that are in the bottom. The bottom of the out of form guys. Right, giant puddles are awful on finding your lads. Felt bad for Chiesa, the poor lad. Yeah, the conditions were obviously not great, especially for young players getting their fitness back together and stuff like that. So it was a good result all in all. I can't complain too much about it. We're through to the next round with pretty much our B team and maybe a little bit of our C team, right? In there. So, good result overall, but obviously had some criticisms at the beginning of the stream that we went over. And I think the sky's the limit for Chiesa. I wish we would have saw Rio. I think the sky's the limit for Trey and Yoni. I think he had a solid game, playing in multiple different positions and looked comfortable in all of them. And Tyler Morton, I think Tyler Morton needs to be given more chances and more time on the pitch, because I think he could potentially be a really good deputy for Ryan Gravenberch. And I think Endo could also be a good deputy for Ryan Gravenberch. He showed some good technical skills, some improved technical skills. Not just lumping the ball forward like he can do sometimes, but really getting the ball, controlling it, sending it into safe areas in a similar way that Ryan does. Looked good. Defensively was great. Battled for everything, had that mouth guard in, and was just going after it. If Maka plays the 10, he could be the new Salah conspirator. I like Maka at the 10. The thing is that Maka is so good at everything else. You just can't not put him as a box-to-box 8. That is the issue with Alexis McAllister. is that he is so good as a box to box 8. I know he's great. He's great as a 10, but he's so good as a box to box 8. It's almost like we can't even afford to put him at a 10 because like how do you replace him there? It's tough. It's tough to do it. But I think he would thrive as a 10. And that's it. He's gone on record to say that that's his favorite position plenty of times. Maybe we drop Sabasli back into the 8, who I think maybe could use, be good in that position, in my personal opinion, because I think he has the legs to do it. The height, the physicality, technical ability. He has really great one touch, two touch play, which works really well in the middle of the pitch. I'm interested. I'm interested to see if that's a thing. I don't know if Arne Slot is, but I am. And at the end of the day, it's all Arne's decision at the end of the day, right? So let's talk about some of these teams that are in the bottom. Manchester City. Let's get straight to it, boys. Manchester City. Let's get straight to it. They don't look good. And the skid looks like it's just going and going and going. And you have to think, when do the City board get over this whole thing? When is it over for the City board where they're like, I think it's time for us to part ways? I'm interested to see if that happens. And I'm interested to see where this team goes, because I don't know when the bleeding stops for them. It's very, very interesting what's going on at Manchester City. And unusual. And I don't want to say, are they throwing games? Because how can a team be this good all of a sudden become this bad? And you have to think, what's going on behind the scenes? What's going on behind the scenes? I don't know. Second team, Aston Villa. A team that I thought was going to be hanging around towards the top, but they're not, sadly. And it's tough. I thought they would be fighting for a top 4 spot, but they have just gone on a serious slide of late, and they just can't put wins together. I know they won their last 2 previous, but before that, the run was looking a little bit rough. And then special shout outs to Nottingham Forest, by the way, for hanging out in that top 4 as well. I can't probably go through this video without at least mentioning them as a winner. I think they're also a winner. We'll have 4 this week. Nottingham Forest. Let's throw them in there. The last team that I think are a loser for this week is Arsenal. And I know Arsenal get a lot of slack and stuff like that for me. But those are games that you got to win. You got to win those games. You can't be the South London Stoke. You can't do that and expect to win every game off of corners. I believe their last open play goal came like 3 or 4 games ago, which is not good. And you look back at some of the recruiting from Arsenal and you're like, man, did they really need another, center back, 2 center backs in Timber and Calafiori, and then another holding midfielder in Moreno? I don't think so. I think they needed to spend some money on a Robin Van Persie type. They should have broke every single bank that they had to go get Victor Gyökeres. And I think they would have been in a different position. They wouldn't be fighting and scrapping for goals off of corners. They'd be creating stuff from open play. Disappointing result for them, for sure. And then here, I'm seeing Trap Joe said, I think Maka in the 10 and Sabo in the 8 might be the magic formula. It might be, but I don't know if Arne Slot sees it that way. Because I think Sabo can play as an 8. And I think Sabo might be a really good 8. Because Sabo just has the physicality that you need to play in that, to be box to box, to be almost a Steven Gerrard-esque kind of figure for us. And I know that he was kind of that for us a little bit under under Jurgen Klopp, but then lost his legs a little bit towards the end of the season. We'll see. We'll see if Arne plays with that, or we'll see if we bring in reinforcements to maybe move Ryan Gravenberch into that 8 position and move Sabo somewhere else, or maybe have him come off the bench and Maka into the 10. It'll be interesting because I can see a midfield 3 of Zubamendi, Gravenberch, and Maka, or Zubamendi, Gravenberch, and Sabo, or Zubamendi, Maka, and Sabo. I mean, the combinations are great, right? You could do a lot of different things with adding another holding midfielder into that can play at a really high level like that. So I'm really excited to see if they end up going for that. We'll see. or if they like what they saw from Tyler Morton today. Maybe Tyler Morton's the option that they end up going for, and they spend money on a center back and a left back instead. We will see. And I do think there will be movement in this transfer window. I saw that Bournemouth have already started scouting for another left back. I don't know if you guys saw that coming out of the news, and I guess we'll go into off press before we wrap up stream, because I don't want to be on here too long, mainly because I want to get you guys a video out ASAP. But off the press, I saw that Bournemouth are already starting to scout another potential left back, potentially to replace Milos Kerkez. And I think that deal could be close, especially with Hughes's relationship with Bournemouth. It looks good. If there's any deal that we can probably expect, it's probably going to be that one, unless Kerkez pulls like some sort of Zubamendi or something like that, which I doubt that he will. He seems like a pretty ambitious kid, actually. Looking back at some of his comments in his previous interviews and things like that, he seems like a pretty ambitious kid, and he's always looking to challenge himself and go to the next level. But I like him. Fast, technical, great dribbler, and very direct. And I feel like that underlap and that overlap on that left-hand side would be fantastic. It'd be fantastic with Gakpo there. And I think that's what Gakpo needs. He needs that extra support there, which Robbo sometimes struggles to give him because of the legs and things like that. So we'll see. And then Reese said, did you see the news on the A24 series about LFC and Shankly? I have not, and I'm a big fan of A24. And I love the fact that they are doing that. I think that's going to be pretty sick. That's going to be pretty sick. I love A24's work. I didn't hear about that at all. Oh, that just broke today. That's going to be cool. I'm really interested to see how they do this and how they film it, because A24 is very unique in the way that they shoot films and things like that. And as we continue to go, you guys will know that I'm a massive movie fan. Massive movie fan. So I love that. I'll have to keep an eye out for that. Do we know when it's releasing? Or is it just being announced? Very cool. And then the last story that we'll talk about off the press today is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Before we jump into that, Trap Joe said Sabo in the 10 is a little slow for him. He doesn't have the proper vision for distributing the ball like Maka, in my humble opinion. I agree with that. I do think Maka is he's not the fastest, and you can see when he gets countered, it's like he's a little guy, running as hard as he can, but just getting like passed up by everyone. So I do think the athleticism is in favor of Sabo, but I do agree with, in terms of the vision, Sabo does need to work on that. And the decision making sometimes at Sabo can be a little bit off, but when he's clicked and in the zone, his 1-touch, 2-touch passing, I think would work fabulously with Ryan. But we'll see. I doubt we may see that. I don't know if we'll ever see that combination. I mean, he played as a 6 in preseason and actually played really good. You never know with Arne Slot. You never know. And then Lorenz, yo, what up? What do you think about the League Cup? Do you think we should prioritize the league and the CL? Shout out to Lorenz. I remember Lorenz was an OG viewer of the family, or the family and the channel, and is from the Netherlands. And I first heard about this individual got a comment from this individual when I was in the Netherlands. So shout out to you. I know you're located in the Netherlands as well. Thank you for tuning into the channel. And to answer your question, I think a lot of people have given me some good perspective on this. I think we should be going for both. I think we should be going for the Champions League and the Premier League. As for the League Cup, I mean, it's one of those things that's just like, when you win it, no one really gets hype about it. But when you lose it, people are like, but you guys lost the Carabao Cup. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure about the Carabao Cup. I mean, the trophy's there. It's right there. And I don't think Arne Slot will pass up an opportunity to get a trophy in this season. And I think if we pull Man United in the next round, who I think we will pull, I think Arne will go strong for that tie. And I think he'll try to win everything. He's so ambitious, bro. He's so ambitious. But if I had to choose, I'd probably prioritize the league and the Champions League over both the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. I would, my personal opinion. And then resetting for the documentary, no release date or news on there. It's going or where it's going, but it's being produced by the folks who did the F1 Netflix series. Very cool. I like that. Yes, I got you, Lorenz. You know, I got a great memory, brother. I never forget those things. I never forget those things. Big shout out to you. You were one of the first people in the Netherlands to show me some love, so I appreciate you. And then Trap Joe, it's all in Slot's hands, and he is adapting to our squad. I'm really interested to see how he molds the squad moving forward after he adds some people to the mix in the chemistry, because he's got to know him. Like, that was his big excuse, right? Or his big reasoning as to why we didn't go after players in the summer, is that he wanted time to get to know the squad. I think he's done that now. And I think he's thinking of areas like, we can improve here, we can improve here, and we can improve here. So I'm really excited for January. But let me know what you guys think down below. Who do we go after in January? What did you think about the result today? I'm going to record this reaction video real quick, have that up for you guys within the next 30 minutes. I appreciate you all. I will see you guys on the next one.